Okay, so I was watching this video and I thought maybe I'd like reply and react a little bit to this because I was interested in what they were saying, and yeah, this is basically my reaction to this video.
This guy, Jordan Peterson, I bet you're not a fan of his. He's known as not being very PC.
He's known for a lot of things,
And he's
including really, the way he often is seen speaking to female reporters is not very encouraging. But he's a hero to several men and women.
I've never really.
Nice. I love my monitor. Me that. Anyways, so when he says not being PC, Jordan Peterson does talk about controversial topics, but what she's talking in reference to is the Channel 4 news report. I'm guessing, I might be wrong. And basically, what happened is that Jordan Peterson was talking with a feminist reporter, and what happened was that he actually said this iconic line, which is that
Cited freedom of speech in that. Why should your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
Because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. You know, like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable.
Well, I'm very glad I put you on the spot.
Well,
I'm very glad that I have exercised my freedom of speech.
You get my point. It's like you're doing what you should do, which is digging a bit to see what the hell's going on.
So
and that is what you should do. But you're exercising your freedom of speech to certainly risk offending me. And that's fine. I think more power to you as far as I'm concerned.
Except you haven't sat there and I'm just trying to work that out. I mean,
Ha, gotcha.
you have got me. I'm trying to work that through in my head. Yeah, it took a while.
It did, yeah.
It took a while.
because what was happening is that the reporter was basically asking Jordan Peterson questions, questioning what he was doing, and what happened was that when he said this iconic line, basically the reporter thought about what she was doing, and Jordan Peterson kind of made his point to her that what happened was that for her to think and to make sense of what Jordan Peterson is saying, she risks offending Jordan Peterson and his opinion for the sake of finding the truth. And I'm guessing this is what she's referring to. And he kind of changed her mind on this, but otherwise, I think that was Channel 4, Kathy Newman, correct me if I'm wrong. And yeah, that's what they're talking about right now.
Often is seen speaking to female reporters is not very encouraging. But he's a hero to several men and women.
I've never read his book. His book
And
is
there's
apparently.
a kind of book is written on 12 whatever it is. He's made a lot of money. He's he's not my kind of person at all. I would never share, a bus seat with him
croissant.
because I find him really quite. But
What the hell was that? Looked like she had a seizure attack halfway. Wait, what? So, she doesn't like Jordan Peterson. We don't know why. Okay, I'm just gonna continue playing.
and what's happened here is somehow he got himself a visiting fellowship at a Cambridge at Britain's Cambridge, one of the colleges, and then the offer was withdrawn. And he's got very cross about this and says, usual stuff, freedom of expression, blah, blah, blah.
Over a picture, though. There's the photo.
But they
at the centre.
hadn't said why. And
No.
then now we know that.
Nice. Okay. This is weird because, like, is Jordan Peterson at fault for someone wearing that shirt? Because you're basically saying it's his fault for taking the picture with that dude. That's essentially what they're arguing here. And to say that it's someone else's fault is completely unfair, number one. Number two is that how can they prove that it's his fault? Like, are you going to ask him to just not take pictures with the guy? I think that's pretty disrespectful in its own right. And it's kind of childish because it feels more like a political game than it is to actually put him up. Because, like, it's like saying, yeah, so let's say you wanted to go maybe to talk to, let's say, at a university in regards to women's, no, yeah, we'll just say women's rights for now. In regards to women's rights, right? And then all of a sudden, let's say you took a picture with someone, someone said, I hate women, etc., right, on their t-shirt. And you just took the picture, you didn't really think about the shirt, you didn't really care. Then they use that as an excuse to not have you on the thing. So in that sense, they're kind of censoring you or trying to keep you off their platform. And in this sense, it's what they did is childish, hands down, no questions asked. Because you're using a shirt, you're saying it's his fault, and then on top of that, you're basically playing some sort of game with him here. So I'm ranting too much about this, but what I'm saying essentially is that this is just childish in its own right.
One reason why was he'd had a picture of himself with a man in New Zealand wearing a T-shirt which said, I'm a proud Islamophobe. And I think they were absolutely right to take away the offer.
Of course he'd say that.
This is quite an unusual, I think he's quite careful, Jordan Peterson.
Can I just say something stupid like... Not stupid, but like... She already made it clear for 30 seconds that she hated Jordan Peterson. And then she didn't even give us a reason why. And then her just saying that they were right to not let him go to, let's say, to Cambridge University. It's like, it's not even a surprise. She just hates the guy. It's pretty obvious. She doesn't even give us a reason why. So her saying that isn't a surprise.
Peterson, to just always stay an inch
Not
away
always,
from...
not always. But he's a very strong personality and argues like a knife, you know, it's hard.
No, it's just that he brings logical arguments and actually brings proper evidence. There's a difference between arguing aggressively and actually bringing in logic and facts. I don't think she actually knows this because she's not used to it. Maybe her arguments are using the gender or the pay gap in which they argue that women are always being paid less, some BS like that. But yeah, this is called facts and evidence. This is something that she's never actually encountered, hence why she thinks this like he's arguing aggressively.
To win arguments with him. But if this T-shirt had said, and all these people who are defending him, if this T-shirt has said, I'm a proud anti-Semite, they would not be shouting in his defense.
Let me just find out what an anti-Semite is. That's arguable. I mean, if the guy put up the T-shirt, Jordan Peterson didn't care about the T-shirt, and then if he made a statement saying he didn't know or really care about the T-shirt, I don't think much people would be caring. Like, we just wouldn't give a crap. I mean, it's just a T-shirt. Calm down, honestly. If you think that T-shirt represents him, even though the T-shirt's worn by someone else, like I could make a T-shirt saying, what's it called? Ellen is, so I could take a picture with Ellen and then say I'm an anti-Semite. I'm not actually, but I'm just saying hypothetically, I'm an anti-Semite. So would that make Ellen responsible for what I'm wearing? That's the dumb thing here, and I'll just let this keep going. I love my graphics card, by the way. It's amazing. Fuck me, Dad.
New Zealand,
And this is,
because of
so
what's
I
happening in New
totally
Zealand.
agree with the college.
But you wouldn't share a bus seat with him?
I wouldn't. I
Would you
find
not?
him very, no.
Would you have a good chat on the bus?
No, not
I thought
with
you
him.
always like
No,
engaged.
not with him. There's something about him that scares me.
What's his... Because for those
Bro, he looks like the most friendliest guy in the world. Plus, he has an amazing beard. What are you on about?
people who haven't heard of this guy, it's... Unless you have read the book, and I haven't, I don't know what it's all about. What is the...
12 Rules for Life. I've read like half of the book actually, and it's a really nice book because like it opens up your perspective and gives you a lot of information about life, and it also tells you a lot that you might not know and gives a lot of helpful pointers. Like I remember one of the pointers being like, if you have a lot of protein in your breakfast, it'll help you throughout the day. Other pointers it gives, and the rules themselves are pointers, and they're really, it has a deep meaning. Each chapter is named after one of the rules, and the chapter talks about it. You'll read an essay or two about the rule, and gives you a deeper understanding of life itself, why you should follow this rule, and how everything works. Hence why you hear about lobsters when it comes to Jordan Peterson, because the first chapter talks about lobsters, and it gives an interesting insight and teaches us a lot about how hierarchies work, and yeah. It's actually an amazing book. I highly recommend it.
Is
He
his big
kind
thing,
of has a
men are
position-
being ignored? Is that it?
White men are the...
White men.
White men are...
Not white men. He never specified the certain race or skin color of men that are being ignored. Plus, I don't think he ever said white men. Correct me if I'm wrong.
the losers in today's world, which in some ways he has a point.
He was emphasizing more about being basically a man-child. You could also, I think he has mentioned once or twice, correct me if I'm wrong, about being losers, but basically he was specifying more about being a man-child, like not growing up to take your responsibilities. So that's what he was actually talking about.
But then there's all sorts of other stuff here, which is about women, the transgender issue. Women, you know, are demanding far too much from men.
I don't think he's ever said that. Yeah, I don't think he's ever said that. In fact, you'll see a lot of lectures he gives about what women like, what they don't like and stuff, and what's the ideal man. And basically, I think she's just taking this out of context. I actually believe that she doesn't know much about Jordan Peterson in the first place. She was probably briefed by someone else who hates him. And yeah, I'll just quickly replay that because I think she said something else here.
Women, you know, are demanding far too much from men. He hates anti-racism.
He doesn't hate anti-racism. He never said that. Not to my knowledge, at least.
He hates equality laws.
Okay, regarding equality laws, this is more about, if we're talking about equality, we're talking about difference between equality of opportunities and equality of outcome. Basically, Jordan Peterson says that he completely supports equality of opportunities, but when we're talking about equality of outcome, that's a very dangerous route to take. Reason being, if you think about it, if you want to equalize everything between men and women, first of all, you're treating gender as if it's an issue, right? And then you're saying that, oh, because there's differences, there has to be an issue. Now, what are the differences made by? The differences are socially constructed, and also some are biologically constructed, right? So equality of outcome then has, what's it called? You want to equalize everything. So you want 50% of teachers to be male and 50% female in every single workplace. You want the same for everything else. And then you have the issue of people in prison. You have more males in prison than you have females. Do you want to equalize that? I think he asked this in another... Yeah, he asked this in this. I'm just going to quickly play this. Probably going to get copyright striked and then, yeah.
The King's dream was that there would come a time of their character. How is today's
love my
identity
grandson.
politics consistent?
Well, I don't think it's consistent.
Wait, it's when he started...
You're likely to do.
Okay, well, maybe you're just...
Example of equality of outcome of people is with there isn't a problem with groups
that you are more concerned about than others. For example, the Liberal Party, as Terry Butler said earlier, is a group. Are there groups that you think are more dangerous?
There isn't a problem with groups. The problem is with assuming that the fundamental way that you should categorize people is with their group identity. Obviously, we all belong to groups. The issue is whether or not the individual identity is primary and the group identity is secondary, or the group identity is primary and the individual identity is secondary. If you're a proponent, for example, of equality of outcome, of quotas, then you de facto accept the proposition that it's the group identity that is primary, and there's all sorts of dangers that are associated with that that far outweigh whatever good you're likely to do.
Yeah, so what he was saying here was that basically you have your group identity and your individual identity. If you support equality of outcome, so first thing you want to do, you want to put everyone in their groups, right? The reason you want to put them in their groups is because you want to make sure everything is equalized with every group. Hence why you have your males and your females, right? So then you want to equalize that. So you're going to treat them by their group. You're not going to treat them by their individual identity. So that's the first issue he was saying here.
Okay,
well, maybe you're just...
Go ahead.
Or maybe you just think that representative democracy should be representative. Maybe you just think that women should be equally represented in the decision-making fora of our nation. Maybe that's really just about having proper equality in a body that's meant to be representative.
Well, I do believe that women should have. I don't understand your question, I guess.
I guess you don't. That's pretty obvious, unfortunately.
Well, how about if you phrase it more clearly instead of just insulting me? Look at it this way. Let's talk about quotas for a minute. So there's a very wide array of jobs that are fundamentally done by men. So, for example,
Member of Parliament.
99.9% of
Sorry, Alex, I'm going to
bricklayers.
stop sledging you now, I promise.
I'm happy to give my minute to Jordan.
99.9% of bricklayers are men. Should we have quotas for women?
Is bricklaying representative democracy?
That has nothing to do with the question. The question is if there's evidence of structural inequality and oppression because women aren't precisely represented at 50% in all professions at all levels, then why don't we have a conversation about having women represented in all professions at all levels? Why do we talk about the C-suite, for example? Why do we talk about politics and positions of power? Why don't we talk about it across the board?
Okay, so let's just pause and...
yeah, but that's because it's power.
You pose a question to Terry Butler. Go ahead and answer it, then we'll hear from the other panellists.
His question to me?
Well, yeah, if you'd,
about
like,
bricklayers.
if you'd like to answer the question about bricklayers...
There's nothing wrong with bricklayers.
Why there are no
Of course
quotas in
there's not.
So you see the issue here. Equality of opportunity, wonderful thing. It's okay to have that because it doesn't really affect anything. And he also, not in this interview, but another one, he also cites studies where showing that the more egalitarian your state, the more, more egalitarian state, the more divided your jobs might be. Not divided, yeah. It's hard to explain. Basically, you'd have more men choosing STEM fields compared to women. And that's because of the whole equality of opportunity. And equality of outcome says the complete opposite. And what equality of outcome is suggesting is that you force everything to be 50-50. And yeah. Nice. I love my graphics card, by the way.
He hates our demanding far too much from men. He hates anti-racism. He hates equality laws.
He doesn't hate equality laws. I already explained what he was talking about. And he doesn't hate anti-racism. There's no evidence of that. She's just misunderstanding everything. Someone probably fed her this garbage.
He wants a jungle.
He doesn't... Okay. That last thing she said, he wants a jungle. You have to understand that compared to what he's saying, compared to what she's saying, she supports equality of outcome. Equality of outcome is even worse compared to anything else. It's not that bad, but if you think about it, when you force people to go 50-50, you ignore their individual choice. You violate that individual freedom that they have to choose. And because of that, a jungle isn't even a fair comparison. Let's say hypothetically that he wants a jungle. Because in her eyes, freedom is essentially a jungle for her. Compared to that, what you're having instead is basically you have a machine, you force everyone into that machine, and you let the factory do its work. That's much worse compared to a jungle. At least a jungle has some sort of structure and freedom. But yeah, that's essentially my reaction to this one video. Did a 18.5 minutes reaction to a 3-minute video. I suck at this. Thank you. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. If you have anything you want to say, please say it in the comments, and I'll see if I can reply as much as I can. And yeah, thank you.